So remember when I talked about in the last video that all we have left is little things? Well, that's what we're working on today. Since the last video, I had those tires mounted. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. This is what we're working with now. They fit in there so much better. They're really nice tires. They do stick out a little bit too far. I might camber in the front just a hair more so I don't completely destroy these fenders because they are a much meatier tire. I have the bumper off right now because I have to clearance the bumper on this side so the tire doesn't nail it. It was already done on that side for some reason, so just gonna make the clearance for that. But then on top of that, I want to make the headlight motors work. So I'm gonna mess around with some relays and see if I can make that happen. I'm gonna put the wiper switch in that I had before and a bunch of other little things. But overall, it's pretty much done. So the original game plan was to get the car tuned, and then after it was tuned, probably run some events, and then I could go send the car off to bodywork and get it all reprimed and then painted. But kind of the way it's working out is I'll probably actually have a better opportunity to get the car painted before there's an opening for a tune. I'm gonna go whatever's earliest. I can probably end up doing both. It's not like I have to choose at this point. So I found a way to make it work. I think actually it looks pretty sweet with no bumper on it, not gonna lie. I do really want to kind of fab up some sort of bash bar, something to rigidize the front, and I don't want to go spend a bunch of money on actual bash bars, so I'm probably just gonna make something kind of jank for now, but it'll work. This is gonna be a weird one. I have no real goal in mind. I'm just gonna kind of see what I can get done because there's so little left to do, but bear with me. Boom, clearance. Sawzalls do pretty quick work of fiberglass when you don't need to make it look nice. So, let's see if it works. Next up, I'm gonna pull the bumper back off and see if I can come up with some way to wire in the relay, just any normal relay, so that the headlights work. Because right now the relays that were in the car were both like waterlogged and didn't work. And the part number is like unattainable on the internet. So, well, actually I know the part number, but the part is actually like super hard to get. So I'm gonna see if I can just rig up some relay. I found someone mentioned something on a forum. I'm gonna try their little wiring schematic, see if I can get something to work. But if I can just get one headlight to pop up when I tell it to, I'll be stoked, because then I can actually set up some permanent nice solution for that. Because right now you have to wind them up manually, and that's not optimal. I also maxed out the camber on the camber plates, and as you can see, at about mid-lock, the tire sits nice and flat. Actually, it's a little cambered in right now. It's probably about right. So, not full lock, and it's just about starting to go positive. So, it works out really well, and I'll show you now what the new fender clearance looks like. Here's this one maxed out, and then here's this one that's got a little bit more to go. Much better. Right now it's sitting at about 6.5 degrees. This says 6.7. Let's go see what the other side says. Instead of 3.7, which is perfect because it actually says it's 3 degrees more on the top hat. That's cool. Put this relay on here to test the headlight, and it works. Ooh. You know they've never done that?
What?
They've never worked ever since I've owned the car.
Nice.
So I went out and picked up some 30 amp 5-pin relays and also some 5-pin relay harnesses. So I'm going to solder these in to the factory headlight loom and find a nice place to mount those relays so that it's permanent and legit and works. And then I'm gonna call it a day. I'm having a ton of trouble right now getting this to work again. So I have these new relays, and here's the cooling fan one I tested the other day. So I hooked these up with the new relay, and it did nothing but just blow the fuses. And I got these like pile of fuses because I kept trying it, and I kept triple checking the wiring. And then I put the cooling fan one back on, and it didn't blow a fuse, but now it's not working. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because it's the exact same thing I had set up yesterday. This is super annoying. I don't have a lot of time today to work on this anyway, so I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to get to this today. At the very least, I gotta pick up some more relays. I don't need a lot of, more fuses. I'm having a little better luck today. I wired in the harness. I'm still testing with that fan relay. I found out those 2 relays I got the other day both don't work, and they were shorting out the circuit. So I was questioning my wiring, but it ended up being the bad relays the whole time. So I'm not sure what's going on. Both of the ones I bought were both bad. I checked the continuity across the 30 to 87A on the other ones, and there was none. So this one has that, obviously, because it's normally closed. But I wired it in, and the headlight works. I'm gonna tidy it all up and do the other side, and then find some new relays. Hey! Try it again? Yeah. Yep, relay is clicking on and off perfectly. Sweet. So now I'm just gonna clean up the wires. I think this motor's having a weird issue because sometimes it won't go up, but I think it might be like the contact for the ground. So I'm gonna take that off and just clean it. I'm gonna tidy up the wires, and then I'm gonna get some new relays because I stole the fan and the ignition relay from the fuse box relay board thing that's in the car. So I need to replace those. Nice. That hasn't worked since I got the car, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So that's one major item off the list. I'm glad I got that to work because I was so stressed about why it wasn't working. Oh man, just dumb relays. So the next up is I'm gonna actually finalize the camber and make them the same both sides. I'm not sure how in depth I'm gonna go, to be honest. I might just leave them maxed, but we'll see. It's a kind of a relaxing day. I don't really feel like working too hard.
Neither do I.
Neither do you?
Nope.
Ted's gonna fit a wheel on his car. He wants to know. 8 wheel. A wheel.
Yeah.
I said a wheel, I think.
You did.
We're gonna get some new relays. Get some snacks.
Yeah.
Hey guys. So I didn't really end that last clip at all, really. Where we left off, I got the headlights working and I was messing with the camber. I kind of gave up. I mean, the garage is very uneven, so I ended up just maxing them both out and kind of hoping that when I get on level ground, I can check it out. And that was last weekend, and then today I actually took the car out to work. I drove it to work, gave it another little bit of a shakedown because I haven't really driven the car. Actually, I haven't at all driven the car since all the upgrades. Actually, since I pulled the tank. So right before I pulled the tank was the last time I drove the car. So I was trying to drive it with the new fuel system, make sure there was no issues. It's running really rich, but it's running great. So I think it's super conservative and safe. Hopefully I'm getting a dyno tune this Saturday. I ended up finding a way to squeeze that in before paint, which is awesome. So that'll actually be the next video. But one of the issues I was having was with the fuel level sender. It actually, like using the factory, I didn't film it, but using the little factory connectors on top of the fuel bulkhead has been like a big challenge. So I decided to pull the bulkhead out, and I'm actually going to come up with something else. And this is what I got so far. So I just cut them off, and what was left was these nice little plastic channels with some O-rings. So I took a bolt and I ran it through instead of using the stud on the inside with a nut. And I used 2 O-rings and then the existing plastic sleeve. And what I got now, I tightened these nuts down. So now I just have 2 studs. So all I have to do is crimp some eyelets onto the 2 things in the car. That way it's just super removable and easy. So that's super nice. I'm glad that that was as easy as it was. And yeah, so while I have this out of the car, I actually have my laptop here. I'm gonna calibrate this and hopefully make sure that this is low and that's full. So we'll actually get a chance to test it outside the car, and then I'll throw it back in. But other than that, car sounds amazing, drives amazing. It breaks up a little bit when I get on it. That's just because it's peaking rich. Like I'm getting like sub 9s. So It's plenty safe enough to get me to the dyno. So I'll probably leave it as is. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this bit up here and then mess with the level and show how I did that. But honestly, that'll probably be where I decide to end this one. But we'll probably wait till I get there. That makes more sense, right? Yeah. I just went through a ridiculous amount of work trying to get this fuel level sender to work. I made custom tables with the numbers correct for the FC. I have no idea how I got this to work. It was some combination of putting the actual amounts in, but then like I changed this to be 90 to 0, but when this was 90 to 0, it didn't work. Oh, you know what? I'm wondering if maybe I just have to hit this twice. Like if I hit this again, is it gonna break? Because it's working right now. It says it's programmed successfully. Right now it says it's on 0. The level is all the way down. If I move it, oh man, you're really not gonna be able to see this. If I move it all the way up, there's all the way up now. There's 100. If I move it about halfway, I think we're good. I think I got it. There's down. There's a little bit off the bottom. Yeah, that'll work. Sweet. So the trick is to use a 90 to 0 calibration table here. None of this does anything from what I could tell unless you're using the linear conversion. Most of the stuff's here. It's really tricky, but this worked for me. I'm gonna put the whole thing back together. Whew. Stupidest thing ever. So I just got back. I took it for another ride. The fuel level sensor was actually acting the way I expected it to. Going over bumps, it would kind of dip down a bit, so I'm pretty sure that's good. Everything else in the race pack seems to be working perfectly. The car actually feels great. The little hiccups here and there when it kind of reached out in certain areas, which you know, a dyno tune will fix, but overall, like my little street tune I did, it's pretty solid. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much will be in this video or if I'm gonna lump it onto the next one, but the next video will definitely be the dyno tune this weekend, and I will film that as much as I can. So yeah, I know this is like all over the place and whatnot, but you know, I'm just rushing to get all the little bits of things done that need to be done so I can get it tuned. And it's, you know, it's just starting to get warm. It's finally spring, so we'll see how this works. But I have really high hopes for this thing on the dyno. I think it's gonna be great. Driving it to the dyno, it's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be really cold out. So we'll see. I have no heat, obviously, so we'll see how that goes. But until then, guys, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to keep following along with the RX7 project, Ted Z, My Z, please subscribe and hit that little bell if you want to be notified when I post a new video. I will see you guys on the way to the dyno. Bye.